Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into something critical. We're going to crack open the blueprint for retention architecture, RA for short.
All right.
We've got sources outlining this, well, pretty detailed 10-step process. It's all about redesigning how companies think about keeping their people.
Yeah, fundamentally changing the approach.
We're talking leadership systems, culture, onboarding, designing it so people don't just, hopefully stick around, but are actually engaged from day one, engineered retention.
And that's the core idea, isn't it? Shifting from being reactive, like, oh no, people are leaving, to proactively architecting the environment.
Building it in.
Exactly. Retention architecture takes this thing that historically often got kind of dumped on HR.
Right, seen as an HR problem.
And makes it a strategic imperative, something that directly impacts performance, profitability. I mean, in today's market, you just can't afford that constant churn.
It's too costly.
Way too costly. So having a structured blueprint like this, it gives companies that authority, that framework to build teams that stick, grow, and deliver.
And it's interesting, the sources position RA not just as a concept, but as, well, quite a sophisticated method,
Right.
often part of larger systems, right? Like the Quota Pro leadership suite they mentioned.
Absolutely. It's designed to integrate. It's not just a standalone checklist.
Makes sense. It's about creating that consistency across the board.
Every single touch point.
Okay, so where do we start? Let's unpack this. First few steps seem foundational. Getting the context, finding the gaps.
That foundation really starts with step one. Establish strategic context. You absolutely need to know what specific problem you're trying to solve and how you'll measure success.
So data, hard data.
Yes, hard data, not just, feelings or vague surveys. We're talking quantifiable stuff. Attrition rates, maybe broken down by manager. The actual cost when onboarding fails. Measurable gaps in engagement.
So it's not just that people are leaving, but putting a real dollar figure on it, understanding the financial hit.
Precisely. Step one has to connect retention improvements directly to business goals. If retention improves by, say, 5%, what does that mean for the bottom line? For team performance,
Okay.
you have to treat retention like a financial lever, basically.
Got it. So once the data shows where the money's leaking out, then you look at the why, the culture piece. Step two, conduct a culture audit. Now, I feel like lots of companies do culture surveys. How's this audit different?
Well, it's digging deeper. It's about reality versus, let's say, the posters on the wall.
Right.
But a proper culture audit doesn't just ask what people think the values are. It observes what leadership actually does.
What behaviors get rewarded or ignored?
Exactly. It pinpoints those cultural misalignments where the stated values, the mission statement, and the day-to-day reality just don't match up. If the company talks about balance, but execs are firing off emails at midnight expecting instant replies,
Then the midnight emails are the culture.
that's the true culture.
Yeah,
You're looking for the signals, not just the slogans.
that makes sense.
And the source material actually gives them really good prompts for this, asking things like, what signals do new hires get in that first week? Is it organized support or just chaos?
Or where do people feel the biggest disconnect from leadership?
Right. That audit tells you what's really valued, what's ignored, and crucially, what bad behavior gets a pass.
Which then feeds directly into step three, right? Mapping attrition triggers. This sounds like where we visualize the risks. What's an attrition trigger map actually look like in practice?
Think of it like a predictive tool for management. It takes all that data from step one and the insights from the culture audit in step two.
Okay.
And it plots out the specific, repeatable reasons people leave. The sources flag common ones. Poor coaching, inconsistent leadership signals, and a really big one, breakdowns during onboarding.
Onboarding keeps coming up.
It's critical.
Yeah.
But the key with the map is segmenting these triggers. You look at them across the employee lifecycle recruitment, that crucial onboarding phase, ramp up, ongoing retention, even the exit process itself.
So if your data shows, say, a huge chunk of people leave between month 3 and month 6.
Right, day 90 to 180.
The map helps you clearly see that window as a major danger zone.
Exactly. You can then use dashboards, maybe heat maps, to visualize those high-risk points. It lets leadership focus resources where the system is actually failing. You stop just saying, oh, retention's bad.
And start saying,
our lack of recognition for high performers during the ramp-up phase, days 90 to 180, is directly causing 40% of our regrettable turnover. Specificity.
that level of detail is powerful. Okay, so we've done the diagnosis. We know the problems, the triggers. Now we shift gears, right? Section 2 is about actually engineering the solutions. designing the systems.
Yes, this is where the architecture part really comes alive. Step 4 is huge. Architect leadership systems. The goal here is fundamentally standardizing the behaviors that drive retention.
Standardizing, like SOPs, standard operating procedures.
Exactly. Designing SOPs, but not just for, ticking compliance boxes, for actual retention behaviors. How to run an effective one-on-one, how to give recognition properly, the specific rituals for onboarding.
Okay, but hang on. Standardizing things like recognition or coaching, doesn't that risk feeling a bit, well, robotic, less genuine? I hear that criticism about SOPs sometimes.
That's a really fair point, and it's a common concern. But the standardization isn't about prescribing the feeling. It's about guaranteeing consistency and fairness.
Oh, okay.
Think about it. Inconsistent management is one of the biggest reasons people leave. Standardizing the process, the timing, the format, the follow-up ensures every single employee gets that same baseline level of quality leadership interaction, regardless of who their manager is.
So it takes manager personality or bias out of the equation, ensuring fairness for everyone.
Pretty much. And tools mentioned, like NorthStar AI, are used specifically to help standardize and track those feedback loops, making sure managers actually follow through on the agreed retention SOPs.
And the ultimate teeth for this is embedding it into leadership scorecards.
Absolutely critical.
Yeah.
If it's not measured and part of their evaluation, it's just not a priority. Simple as that.
Which flows right into step 5. Build the onboarding and retention experience. I really liked how the sources stressed this. Onboarding isn't a one-off event. It is a retention system.
That shift from candidate to fully integrated, committed employee, it's a fragile time. The blueprint really hammers building trust from minute one.
Yeah.
The onboarding and retention checklist gets specific. Day 1 activities focus purely on trust building. Clear 30, 60, 90-day coaching plans laid out. Integrating peer mentors right away. That first week needs to be about psychological safety, not just paperwork.
Let's zoom in on that day 1 trust building. What does that actually look like? How can one activity on someone's first morning genuinely impact whether they stay long-term?
It's about signaling investment from the very start. When a company carves out dedicated, high-value time on day 1, not just HR processing, but introducing mentors, clearly explaining the mission, making sure the team welcomes them.
Not just HR.
Right. It dramatically accelerates that feeling of belonging.
Yeah.
And belonging is a huge driver of discretionary effort and ultimately long-term commitment. It changes the mindset from, I got a job, to, I'm joining this team, this community.
Okay, powerful stuff. So we've set the standards, designed the critical onboarding experience. Now we need to actually implement this, right? Get people trained, build the habits. Section 3 seems to be all about that. Implementation, coaching, accountability.
Exactly. Step 6 is the formal rollout. Facilitate retention architecture workshops. These aren't just lectures, though.
Yeah.
They have a dual purpose.
Yeah.
Introduce the whole framework, yes, but also immediately apply it. Leaders participate in facilitated versions of the culture audit and trigger mapping, but focus specifically on their teams.
So it's immediately relevant to their day-to-day reality. Tailored.
And crucially, to make it stick, the training uses things like role-playing and decision trees. You have to practice these behaviors.
Why role-playing?
Because some retention-focused behaviors might feel counterintuitive compared to older leadership styles. You need to simulate those tricky situations. Like, how do you respond when a top performer hints they're unhappy without immediately jumping to solve it for them? Practice helps build that muscle memory.
Okay, that makes sense. Practice under pressure. And then comes the follow-through. Step 7, reinforce through coaching. The sources say managers need to coach in real time, not just wait for the annual review.
Correct. It has to be ongoing, supportive, and really focused on behavior change, not just past results.
And here's where it gets really interesting for me. They talk about using specific coaching conversation templates, things like empathy-based feedback or templates for retention-focused one-on-ones. Can you give a quick example? What makes an empathy-based feedback template different?
Sure. So a standard performance review might just jump to the numbers. Your key 3 results missed the target by 10%.
Right. Yeah. Pretty common.
An empathy-based template guides the manager to start with a person. It might structure the opening like, hey, I noticed things seemed a bit different for you this past quarter. Before we dive into the metrics, can you share what's been going on? What support might you need right now?
So, person first, context first.
Exactly. Diagnose before you prescribe. Is it burnout? Is it misalignment? Is it something outside work? Opening with empathy and vulnerability builds trust. And reinforcing trust is the whole point of step 7.
That real-time, human-focused approach. It's about developing people, not just managing performance.
And that development piece, connects straight into step 8, build leadership action plans. This is where managers make it operational. Using something like the Leadership Action Plan Builder mentioned, each leader has to identify, say, 3 specific retention behaviors they personally commit to modeling. Maybe it's dedicating 30 minutes every Friday to peer recognition. Then they set concrete 30-day goals for implementing it.
So it closes that gap between learning it in the workshop and actually doing it consistently. And the accountability isn't just manager to boss, is it?
No, that's key. The blueprint includes peer accountability partners. Leaders track their progress on these commitments, often using visual dashboards, and they're accountable to a peer for hitting those goals.
Interesting. It sort of democratizes the accountability, makes it shared.
It does. It reinforces it at multiple levels.
All right. We've built the system, trained the people, put accountability in place. Section 4 feels like the payoff, proving it works and maybe showing off a bit.
Yeah, well, proving the ROI, certainly, and asserting authority. Step 9 is critical for sustainability. Measure what matters. The sources mention integrating with the NorthStar Attrition Index. But even if you're not using that specific tool,
What's the core idea?
extreme granularity in measurement. You have to track retention metrics by team, by individual manager, by employee lifecycle stage. Retention can't just be one big company-wide number.
It has to be broken down to the manager level to actually mean something for accountability and development.
Exactly right. And you benchmark those super granular numbers against industry standards.
Yeah.
Use the data not just for reporting up, but for feeding continuous improvement. What do we need to focus on in the next leadership workshop? Measurement fuels iteration. Without that rigor, the whole architecture just becomes, old documents.
A binder on a shelf.
Precisely.
Okay. And once you've done the hard work, measured it, proved it works, then step 10, share thought leadership. Why is talking about it externally part of the blueprint? Seems internal first.
It actually serves 2 key purposes. Internally, sharing success stories maybe in newsletters. Town halls reinforces everyone's effort. It validates the investment and tells employees, hey, this system we built, it's working and we're proud.
Builds internal momentum.
Yes. And then externally, publishing insights on LinkedIn at conferences positions the company as a leader in building a retention-focused culture.
So it becomes a talent attraction tool too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're not just keeping the great people you have, you're signaling to the market that you know how to systematically support employee growth and commitment. It validates the whole 10-step investment, asserts market authority.
Wow, okay. This has been quite the deep dive. So to kind of wrap it up, retention architecture, often integrated within frameworks like the Quota Pro Leadership Suite, is this really structured, comprehensive blueprint. It forces retention out of that reactive HR silo and into a proactive 10-step strategic system led by leadership, designed, really engineered for commitment.
And what this means for you listening is that you have a potential framework here. These tools mention the detailed data systems, the action plans, those empathy-based coaching templates. They provide a real foundation. You can start applying these ideas in a measurable way.
It's not just theory. It's like an engineering schematic for changing your culture.
That's a good way to put it.
A schematic.
It gives you the map, the tools. But let's leave you with a final thought, circling back to accountability. If retention truly is a top strategic priority,
how does your organization make sure that the executive leadership scorecard, the CEOs, the C-suites, actually includes accountability for those specific retention behaviors we talked about in step 8? Are the top leaders graded on how well they use empathy-based feedback?
Ooh, that's a sharp question.
Something to think about as you look at your own organization's blueprint.